Even troublemakers deserve a shot at love, and Bart Simpson is no exception. When he falls head over heels for Milhouse's edgy, effortlessly cool cousin from the Netherlands, he finds himself willing to do anything to win her over. But just how far is Bart willing to go to get the attention of this mysterious Dutch girl?
Oh, you smoke?
It's an e-cigarette. Care to vape?
Marge, Bart and Lisa are all cute penguins huddled on top of the frozen couch, but then a giant walrus Homer tries to sit with them and causes the entire couch to flip over with the sheer force of his blubber fat. I mean, whatever. The story begins with Milhouse hosting an extremely lavish birthday party at his house. There is a mountain of gifts, a signature squishy just for Milhouse, and there is even a Milhouse-shaped bouncing castle. This birthday party greatly worries Homer because he is a cheapskate, and a party like this would give his own children grand ideas of what their father can afford.
That would cost a fortune! What do you think I am, a professional bowler?
Homer talks with Milhouse's dad, who is now selling his house to pay for his son's party, but Milhouse interrupts them because his birthday cheese is not shaped like Pokemon characters. Homer decides to do something about this birthday craze. Before things go out of control, he actually has to make an effort for his kids.
We'll secretly destroy these children's birthdays or die trying.
Now Homer is on a crusade to spoil every birthday party happening in the neighborhood. He steals party animals and drops them off in front of Ned's house. He replaces the candy in piñatas with stale rice cakes, and even beats up Krusty the Clown. Homer dresses as Krusty and pretends to hang himself in front of the children, giving them trauma for years to come.
I was the last kid on Earth who liked clowns.
Later on, while Homer admires his handiwork, Marge confronts him about the birthday mayhem he has been causing. Homer's helium-induced, high-pitched voice gives him away, but he is ready to defend himself. Homer is convinced that birthdays used to be terrible and kids used to enjoy their crappy parties. But now, things have changed. Homer is in no mood to change his ways, but he has meddled with forces beyond his understanding. Big Birthday himself drops by the Simpsons' house to set the record straight. The corporate world of birthdays is not happy that Homer is going around messing with their bread and butter. In fact, the very fabric of American society is over-the-top, shallow parties, and Homer is getting in the way.
Mr. Simpson, the very fabric of our existence is birthdays! The quarks and bosuns of your soul! Birthdays!
Big Birthday decides to blacklist the Simpsons family entirely. Homer will never be able to throw his kids a pointless birthday, which they will forget after a month. Bart and Lisa are devastated to hear this, and even Homer tries to beg for some leniency. Big Birthday decides to give Homer an opportunity to correct his ways. He has to throw Rod Flanders a birthday party. Homer does not like the sound of that, but he accepts. Big Birthday makes sure to let Homer know that his birthday has to be magical.
This event has to be magical.
You mean hire a magician?
No, magical.
Homer gets to work and throws Rod Flanders a huge party in an aviator museum. The guests of honor arrive on a B-17 plane known as Lulu. They are war veterans, and the minute they step off the plane, one of them notices Grandpa Abe Simpson. Abe recognizes the man as Mark Ridley, an old Air Force buddy. Mark and his friends explain that they go around showing off old airplanes to kids, and this prompts Lisa to ask a forbidden question. She wants to know why planes and boats are often referred to as women. Mark gives Lisa a casual misogynistic remark, and the little girl is not surprised.
I knew there'd be a sexist joke behind it. I knew it!
Mark wants Abe to join them for a drink, but Homer steps in. Homer treats his dad like an old blind horse. Homer tells Mark that his father is too senile to go anywhere and takes him away.
That's the lack of spirit.
Mark and the other guys don't like how Homer treats his father, and they decide to do something about it. Back at the party, Bart sees a fully grown woman besides his mother for the first time and loses his mind. Milhouse introduces Bart to Annika, his cousin from the Netherlands. Bart is willing to look past this unfortunate connection, and when he sees Annika smoking, he is already head over heels in love. Annika offers her e-cigarette to Bart, and when the child refuses, she uses good old peer pressure.
Don't you want to be one of the cool kinderen?
Bart takes the e-cigarette, and even though he starts viciously coughing, he pretends to be cool. Meanwhile, Mark and the rest of the guys show up at the Simpson family home to have a little chat with Homer. Mark demands Homer to treat his father with kindness, but Homer wants to throw hands instead.
You done girly punching?
Yes.
The insinuating fight is embarrassing for Homer, and he falls down. While his father gets beaten by the elderly, Bart is fully obsessed with Annika. She treats him like her little errand boy and tells Bart to get her some e-cigarettes. She even manipulates him with a little hands-on action.
You can kiss me.
Oh, that felt so good.
Bart heads over to the Quickie Mart where he buys the e-cigarettes. Apu warns Bart that these devices will leave him with a hole in his neck, but Bart is actually amused by the idea and decides to get a pack for himself as well. As a lawful salesman, Apu sells the e-cigarettes to Bart, but his morality still thinks that's a bad idea. Apu then proceeds to show Bart all of the available e-cigarette flavors.
Now, would you like bubblegum flavor, strawberry shortcake, or watermelon dream?
Meanwhile, Mac decides to help Homer bond with his father and not resort to elder abuse. The trio head over to the movie theater to watch the latest Hollywood fodder, but when Homer sees a preview for a dystopian future, he begins to list down all of the dystopian movies ever released. The list is long, and by the time Homer is done, the movie is over, and they missed the entire thing.
Sir, the movie's been over for 20 minutes. You'll have to clear out of the theater and come back for the next show.
Don't!
Homer and his father now have to watch the next show, and this movie is about a classic fight between a nondescript Arab man and American soldiers.
I was a fool to fight America!
During the movie, Abe has to go to the bathroom, and Homer has to accompany him. He waits for his father to get done, but the man was in there for 25 minutes.
I thought The Mirror was another movie. You made me miss the denouement.
Homer missed the entire movie, and he takes his anger out on his dad. Mark has had enough of Homer's attitude and decides to lead him into a trap. He uses violence to force Homer to apologize to his father, and of course, it works.
I only say this at gunpoint, but it's true.
Back at Milhouse's place, the two boys watch Annika insert a nail into a bottle using her butt. They look traumatized, but amused nonetheless. Bart in particular is completely taken in by Annika, but it's clear their relationship hinges on how much Bart smokes with her.
Still, you are small and cute like Liechtenstein. Now vape up.
Thankfully, Marge catches her son smoking and takes his e-cigarette away. Although it's even too late for Maggie now, while Homer and Abe share quality time together. Marge lets Homer know that their son is smoking e-cigarettes, but Homer is not bothered at all.
Oh, those are totally legal. Tell me, does he like bubblegum or strawberry?
Marge tells Homer that Bart is only smoking to impress a girl, and then Bart announces to everyone that Annika is going back to Holland. His distraught demeanor compels Abe to share his own story of winning over a girl. Abe goes back to the good old days, where actions did not have consequences.
Nature will take it.
He used to work at the Air Force Base where he had the crucial job of getting rid of turtles from the runway. At the end of the day, he would gather at the local bar and would try to win over the waitress. Lisa decides to interject the story with her own commentary, and Abe does not like that.
Who's telling this story, you or me? I hope it's you.
Abe then recalls how Mac was the hotshot of the group and would have definitely won over the waitress. But one day, Abe heard Mac talking about a dangerous jet, and he decided to fly the death trap on his own because he had a death wish.
Or had they tested a little too much LSD on me the night before without me knowing it?
And unclear motivations. Abe gets into the jet and flies the thing on his own. Mark tried to stop him, but it was too late. Abe controlled the jet with full confidence, but it was clear that he had no clue what was going on.
At 50,000 feet, amazing things happen.
Abe started to freeze mid-air, but somehow he ended up breaking the sound barrier. He was doing good for a while, but then the entire jet crumpled up, leaving Abe to fend for himself. The man was lucky enough to survive and safely landed on the highway using the parachute.
I hitched a ride back to the base with a young feller who was hoping to be a writer.
Abe then had a run-in with Jack Kerouac and completely ruined the man's career by publishing the wrong manuscript. Later on, Abe had the guts to ask the waitress out, and she decided to marry him. Turns out the waitress was Homer's mother, and he has fond memories of her.
Gee, she wasn't too sunny when I knew her. Although she really cheered up after she left you forever.
Bart realizes from the story that he needs to make a grand gesture as well, and he rushes over to the airport to speak to Annika. Bart cycles in the rain and has his dramatic rom-com ending. He spots Annika in the security lane and rushes over to her. Bart tells Annika that he wants to share his true feelings with her, and she does not seem impressed.
A grand gesture. How American.
But turns out, Bart wasn't trying to confess his feelings. He tells Annika that he doesn't like her at all, and she's just selfish and hateful of everything. Bart discards all of the e-cigarettes and completely destroys the girl.
And take these poison pen lights with you.
Annika is actually gutted and leaves disappointed. Milhouse tries to cheer up Bart, but the boy has had enough with the Milhouse bloodline. Back at home, Homer decides to cook his father a steak, but since the man is too old to eat solid food, Homer blends the meat. However, even the steak pulp is too much for Abe.
No, still too tough.
This prompts Homer to get creative, and he creates a steak-flavoured e-cigarette for his old man. This was a very cool episode about romance and heartbreak, just like the time Homer and Marge get a divorce and they meet new people. If you want to see what happens, click on this video next, but not before hitting those like and subscribe buttons.